Hello, I'm Richard, EV4U Custom Conversions. And in this video we're back in the cargo trailer conversion. And what I've been doing is I've been heating up the inside of the trailer. And instead of using the EcoFlow Wave 2 like I did last time, I used a radiant heater. But to help this radiant heater be a little more efficient in heating up this space, I've got the fan on, and I've got it on high on the EcoFlow Wave 2. Now we're up to temperature. I was a target temperature of 70 degrees. I've got the little weather station thing here. Instead of having it in the front of the trailer this time, I've got it right here where it normally sits. And it doesn't matter because this isn't about the radiant heater. It's not about the EcoFlow Wave 2. This video is going to be about how long or how much how much does the temperature drop inside the trailer with no heat source and over a given period of time. So I'm going to do, based on the time I have to do this, it'll probably be over 3 hours, 4 at the very most. But what I'm going to do here is let me find the EcoFlow here. I'm going to turn it off. I'll just turn the fan down. Like I said, I had it on high. A little noisy, at least sitting next to it here. Anyway, we're up to 70.1 degrees. The temperature outside, I'll go double check. And we're going to see how long it takes to go from 70. Well, I keep wanting to say this wrong. We're going to see what the temperature is in 2 hours, 3 hours, and 4 hours, hopefully. And so we're going to see how well this trailer retains the heat. And so what we have is, well, let me take a photo real quick. And I'm going to take a photo of this because I took a photo when I started. And I want to take one now since it's already 70 degrees. So I have my benchmarks here. Okay, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the trailer and leave it closed up. When I was heating it, when we did the heat test with the EcoFlow Wave 2, I went in and out of the trailer a couple dozen times probably. And every time you open that door, it's 32 inches wide. It just lets a lot of heat out. So I'm going to try not to do that. It kind of gives an idea what it'd be like if you were in here all day, or not all day, but half a day or whatever. But I'm not putting the covers on the windows, so they're just single pane windows. So we're going to have loss through that. We have two of the standard, I think, what are they, 14-inch vents and fans. They're not insulated, they're just closed. And so those are the two biggest weak links in this space that we're testing. I've mentioned before, we've got 1-inch foam, or whatever they call it, the hard foam insulation. I got 1 inch in all the walls except for the back ramp. That's 1.5 inch, and we have 1.5 in the ceiling. And we're just going to see how this is going to do. So I'll go ahead and check the outside temperature. At the end of the video, I'll give you all the numbers. But we're starting off at 70, and we're going to go down to whatever we go down to, but it's going to be based on time. So what's the temperature at 2 hours? I'll come in and check. What's it at 3 hours? And if I can stay 4 hours, we'll come in and look at it at 4 hours and see how much of a drop we have over that time. So what I'm going to do right now is I'll come take well, let me shut all this off. I'm going to take a video clip of this, and well, I just took a picture. I'll put that on the video. Anyway, that's our starting point, and turn the heat off, and we'll see how the trailer performs as far as retaining heat. You know, we did the heat test with the EcoFlow Wave 2, and it occurred to me, I wonder what, how long it takes for this thing to cool off if it's not being assisted. Now, like I mentioned before, and it's common knowledge that it takes less energy to maintain a certain temperature than it does to increase or decrease that temperature. So if, summertime we're trying to decrease the temperature with air conditioning, or in wintertime we're trying to increase the temperature with heat, it's going to be easier to maintain a given temperature than it is to increase or decrease that temperature. So anyway, let's see what that temperature does on its own in this trailer, in this cold warehouse, on this early March day. It's raining outside. It's a nasty winter day out there, but let's see, and I'll share the results with you. Let's review the results of our heat retention test, as I'm calling it, where we heated the inside of the cargo trailer conversion to 70 degrees, and then we turned off the heat, removed the heater, so we didn't have any residual heat coming from this oil-filled radiant heater, and then let the thing sit. Just, left the trailer, closed the door, and let it sit. And we checked it after 2 hours and after 3.5 hours, and we recorded the temperature inside the trailer as well as the temperature in the warehouse. So, like I said, at the start of the test, we had heated the trailer to 70 degrees, and the outside, outside the trailer, the warehouse temperature was 46 degrees. So 2 hours later, the temperature had dropped to 64 degrees, and the temperature had risen in the warehouse to 47. Then after approximately 3.5 hours, so we started at 12:52, we ended at 4:19. It dropped down to 61 degrees, and the temperature in the warehouse was still 47 degrees. So what it appears is that our average loss per hour with an outside temperature of approximately 47 degrees was 3 degrees Fahrenheit per hour. That was the rate over that 3.5 hour time, or over 3 hours approximately. We lost, a total of 9 degrees divided by 3 hours. So 3 degrees an hour. So, that's nice to know. Doesn't tell me a lot because I don't have a reference point. What are you referencing this against? What if I had more insulation, or if I put the window covers up, or had insulated covers for the vents, the vent openings. Even though they're closed, it's just a plastic, vent cover. So, what's all this, relative to? And so when you don't have some other benchmark to compare to, it doesn't tell me a whole lot, other than what's the obvious. I lose about 3 degrees of temperature per hour if I'm sitting in approximately 46, 47 degrees. So if it was colder, probably going to lose more than 3 degrees. If it's warmer, I might lose less than 3 degrees. It's just kind of, I've established a benchmark, but I don't have anything to compare it to. So, just for fun, if any of you have done a similar test or do a similar test, let me know. Let me know what yours, experienced, and what size is your trailer, how is it insulated, so forth. I think it'd be interesting to know. Would have been interesting to see if when the trailer was new and not insulated, what kind of losses you would have then. I'm sure much greater, but I don't know. In other words, it's not tested. We can only assume. So anyway, then another little interesting tidbit, to me at least, was the time to heat the trailer with the radiant heater. It's a 1500 watt, like I said, oil-filled radiant heater. And I had the fan from the EcoFlow Wave 2 blowing through that to kind of help distribute the heat, hopefully a little faster. So we took the inside the trailer from 49 degrees up to 70 degrees, and that was from 8:40 to 12:50, so approximately 4 hours. Okay, so we raised it 21 degrees in 4 hours. And so if you go back and take a look at our EcoFlow Wave 2 test and see how long it took the EcoFlow Wave 2 to go from, I believe, colder. It went from like 46 or 47 degrees, but only went to 65. But you can see the comparison there. What I really want to know, and going forward, I'm going to do some not necessarily testing, but recording of actual results. In other words, what I want to know is to maintain a certain temperature. So say I want to maintain 65 degrees, or I want to maintain 70 degrees inside the trailer using my EcoFlow Wave 2 on, whatever the exterior temperature is. What's the run time? And what's my energy consumption? So with the EcoFlow Wave 2 as my heat source inside the trailer, and say it's, again, 47 degrees outside, how long does that have to run in say an hour's time? How much runtime does that EcoFlow Wave 2 have to maintain that temperature? And that's going to give us, it's going to draw a certain amount of energy over a certain period of time. So that will give us watt hours. And then we will be able to know that, hey, it takes so many watt hours to maintain 65 or 70, whatever, tests I do, at a certain exterior ambient air temperature. And so we've had, I've been RVing since 1979, so that's when I bought my first travel trailer. So been a lot of places, done a lot of things all across the country. But we typically avoid excessively cold. We've been in excessively hot a lot, but we've always tried to avoid excessively cold. Although we have been places where it got down in the 20s at night. But those are rare occasions for us. So, the big picture is, can that EcoFlow Wave 2 maintain 65 degrees, if it's already there? The last test we did in the previous video was how long did it take to raise the temperature in the trailer from a certain point to another point. That's not typical. More typical is going to be that you have, a certain daytime temperature and then it gets colder at night. And so can we maintain, say, 65 degrees, which is comfortable for me. You can put a sweatshirt on and be perfectly fine at 65 degrees. Matter of fact, at 65 degrees in that trailer feels kind of warm. At least it did the other day when you're used to it being so much colder. But that's the objective for later. That's the information that I really want to know. That's the most pertinent information. The rest of this is just out of just idle interest. But I want to know what's the watt hours required to maintain the comfortable inside trailer temperature. And that's what insulation is all about. It's about maintaining comfortable inside temperature, whether it be hotter outside or colder outside than what you want it to be inside. So we're going to be doing those things. I'm kind of a real note taker, so I will keep track of these things, and I'll give you that information in a future video. For now, I hope you enjoyed this and maybe sparked some interest in your own setup. And if you want to share, go ahead and leave that in the comments. Until next time,